So throughout my days of school, I had some pretty strange teachers. I've told story times about those teachers on this channel before. I'm sure a lot of you watching have seen those before, but I feel like this story time that I'm about to tell is definitely one of like the top 3 weirdest teachers I've ever had in my entire life. This might be maybe even number 1. But I hope you guys enjoy this story time. Let's just jump right into it. So today's story time takes place when I was 16 years old. Now, 16-year-old Luna had a pretty normal routine every day. I'd wake up after sleeping for about 2 hours, I'd be exhausted, I'd roll out of bed, I'd get dressed, and I'd go to school. Now, obviously, there's some steps that I missed in between there, like, showering and stuff like that. I'm not dirty, I promise. I already know I'm about to get a comment being like, Luna, what the hell, man? You don't shower before school? You don't shower before you go out of your house? Like, what's going on? Are you dirty? I'm not, I promise. Anyway, off topic. I would go to school every day, go about my day, get through it as fast as possible, get home, and then work on YouTube videos. That was basically my day-to-day every single day when I was 16. Besides the times I'd be hanging out with friends, that was pretty much all I did. Now, when this story time takes place, it was the beginning of the school year. Now, the beginning of the school year for me when I was 16 was kind of shitty. I was having a lot of anxiety. I wasn't really going to school very much. I was skipping. And my school hit me up and they were like, hey man, you can't keep skipping school. We're sending you to a different school now because you're skipping too much. So they sent me to a secondary school that was like for bad kids. And the thing about that school is it was only 3-hour days. So I was kind of happy about it. I'm like, oh shit, I'm lit. Like I can go there and only go for 3 hours, like versus 6 hours at my other school. Fuck yeah, I'll take the secondary school all day. Now, it wasn't until I got there that I realized this school was filled with much more weird shit compared to my last school. And by weird, I more mean like dangerous/strange situations. For example, the first day I was there, I saw some kid named Jacob eating a piece of chicken off the gym floor. Yes, just eating a chicken tender off of the gym floor like it was a plate, the dirty gym floor. And when the gym teacher walked up to him to tell him to stop doing that because it was gross, the kid stood up and tried to fight my gym teacher. He got stanced up and yelled at him and told him to fight him. Yeah, weird place, very weird place. Many other things have happened there, and honestly, the more I talk about it, the more story times I remember that I have to tell soon on this channel. Anyway, enough of that. So yeah, weird place, a lot of weird things happening, and I'm about to tell you about one of the weirdest things. So about 2 weeks into going to this school, I was starting to get used to it, starting to kind of settle in, just really like feeling more comfortable there. And then one day, I get up, I go to school, I walk into my first period class, and I had this teacher. It was a guy, let's just call him Mr. Chris, okay? Mr. Chris was a cool dude from what I could gather. He seemed like a really chill dude. He was always very helpful to me. And when I walked into school this morning, Mr. Chris was just sitting at his desk like usual, greeting the students as they walked in. I walked in. He was like, hey, what's up, Austin? I'm like, hey, man, how you doing? He's like, pretty good. You ready to get some work done today? I'm like, yep, always am. And in my head, I'm just thinking like, nope, no, I'm not. I don't want to get any work done. I want to sit here with my head down the whole class. So anyway, after I say hello to Mr. Chris, I walk to my desk. It was in the back of the classroom. I sit down. I start pulling out the worksheet for that day, and I start working on whatever he wanted us to work on. And then this kid walked in who sat next to me in this class. Let's just call this kid Nathan, okay? Nathan walks in the class, and Nathan sat right next to me, and he comes over, he sits down. He's like, what's up, Austin? How you doing? I was like, good. And he goes, yo, what's the answer to this question? I couldn't get it last night on my homework. I'm like, I don't know, man. I just put C. He's like, yeah, C? I was like, yeah, man, that's just what I put down when I don't know what the answer is. He's like, I feel you. And he circles C, and he continues to keep doing the homework that he didn't really do the night before, and I keep doing the worksheet for that day, and we go about our separate ways, right? And then the bell rings and class starts, and our teacher doesn't stand up. Mr. Chris just keeps sitting at his desk, sitting on his computer, doing whatever he was doing, and everyone kind of looks at each other like confused because usually when the bell would ring, Mr. Chris would just kind of stand up and start teaching, but he wasn't doing that. So my friend next to me, Mr. Nathan, stands up and goes, hey, yo, Mr. Chris, what the hell are you doing, dude? You watching porn or something? Like, come on, stand up, teach the class. And everybody turns their head and looks at Nathan like, what the fuck are you even saying, dude? Like, you're about to get us all in trouble. And Mr. Chris stands up and he goes, well, Nathan, no, I wasn't watching porn, but I was doing something important and you interrupted it. And I don't know what was wrong with Nathan today. I guess he was just out for blood because he wouldn't stop roasting our teacher. He's like, nah, man, you were watching porn. Like, I know your creepy ass be doing that behind the scenes. And for some reason, it became an argument about how watching porn isn't bad. Mr. Chris was like, well, I watch it, certainly. I bet you do too, don't you, Nathan? He's like, yeah, but not in class, like your dirty ass. And he's like, well, I wasn't watching it in class. And they just like have this really childish argument. So finally, I interrupt both of them. And I'm like, excuse me, can we just like fucking do our work today? Like, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'd rather just do work. And then Nathan goes, nah, hold up. Hey, Mr. Chris, let me see your search history. I bet you got Pornhub on there. And I'm like, Nathan, shut the fuck up, man. You're gonna get us all in trouble. And then Mr. Chris speaks up. He's like, yeah, you should probably listen to Austin, Nathan. Like, just keep your mouth shut. And Nathan goes, fuck nah, like, I know what you be doing in this class. And he stands up, walks over to Mr. Chris's computer, his fucking school computer, and starts typing in phub.com. And the craziest part about this is when he starts typing it in, a bunch of suggestions come up from previously searched websites. And you want to guess what one of them was? That website he was searching. Yeah, dude, our teacher was watching fucking porn on the school computer in his spare time. You should have seen everybody jump up and run to that computer screen when fucking Nathan typed it in. It was like, yo, come look at this. Because everyone ran over there and saw it for themselves just to have proof. And yeah, our teacher was more than embarrassed. And the funniest part about this entire thing is there was like 5 different suggestions and one of them was hentai. Yeah. So upon figuring this out, Nathan gets yelled at by our teacher, Mr. Chris. He sends Nathan to the main office. Nathan then proceeds to snitch on our teacher well at the main office. And then our teacher, Mr. Chris, gets called up to the main office. And we have to have a substitute come into the room. And guess what ends up happening? Nathan gets detention for 2 days because he was being disruptive to the class. But then Mr. Chris got let go. Yeah, because that stuff being on his computer was exposed, this dude had to get fired from our school. You're probably like, Austin, how do you know that? Well, the next day when Nathan came into school and I had first period with him, I asked him about it. I was like, yo, Nathan, what ended up happening yesterday? Like when you guys both went up there, like, where's our teacher? He's like, oh, he got fired. I'm like, what? He's like, yep, I told them about what I saw and how he'd been doing that in his spare time, and they fired him. I was like, bro, how'd you know that he would have that on his computer? Like, why'd you start that argument so randomly? And this dude proceeds to tell me that a week prior to him starting that argument with our teacher and getting him fired, he was walking around the hallways during lunch break and he peeked into the little window of his door during lunch break and saw him watching it on his computer, just watching P-Hub, just, chilling, kicking back, doing nothing but watching it. Just feet on the desk, carefree, just watching porn in the middle of break. So yeah, I guess Nathan saw that, waited a week, and then one day he just woke up and decided to start drama and expose our teacher. And he did. And I can't lie, at first, a small part of me felt really bad that he got fired. But then I thought about it a little bit more, and I'm like, you know what? You really shouldn't be watching that stuff at work, especially if you work in a public building like a school. So yeah, our teacher got kicked out of school. I don't know where he is nowadays. I haven't heard anything about him since that day. And moral of the story is, if you're a teacher, don't be like that one. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I thought this was a funny story time. I thought you guys would enjoy it. If you enjoyed this story time, please leave a like on the video. I would really appreciate it. Feel free to leave your story times in the comments down below. And subscribe if you're new. I'll see you all later. Peace. Like, what's up? They leave me out for the dead, and now they know they're fucked. All my texts are unread, that's how